Good morning, good afternoon. It's Ambreen here, your host at Radio W.O.R.K.S World. My name is Ambreen Khan, and I am the creative director of the Wonder of Learning. And I would like to host you all while you're listening today here on Radio W.O.R.K.S World, and really just share with you my journey and my story so far. It's actually quite amazing, and I'm very grateful to Radio W.O.R.K.S for giving me this opportunity as well, and giving me the opportunity to actually share my passion and share my journey, and some of the challenges and achievements that I've faced. The Wonder of Learning came about around 2 years ago now. The concept was, and was all through inspiration, actually. My background, I think, which is it's fair to talk about first, was very different, and shall I say, I really didn't go through a very linear academic journey in my life. After leaving school and doing my GCSEs, I did try out college to take my A-levels, and I wasn't so confident as a younger person. And with a lot of pressure, even then, back in society, to do really well, in your studies academically, you start to sort of feel as though you may have let others down, or, actually start to feel that, failures come your way and you're failing. So I dropped out of college, but very quickly I realized that I was going to enter the world of work, and I was at the age of 15 at the time. And from a very young age, I started work and started to actually learn the skills of life without any further or higher education. And I ended up in retail sector, and that was like sort of fashion retail, and from fashion retail into banking, and literally spent 14 years of my life in the banking industry, in various roles, and my last role being a corporate business manager, business development manager for a major world financial institution. However, my journey then took me, I think life changes, circumstances changed, but very importantly in that time, and I missed out a really important part, was when I started to find myself and find my own passions and my own interests from an age where I was around 25, 26, where I started to feel academically what was it I was passionate about, and started to develop academic interest myself after lifting confidence through so many more journeys you go through in the working world. So ultimately, I did complete my degree. I studied construction part-time whilst working full-time, and that was a challenge in itself. And but the inspiration and the journey where the Wonder of Learning all began was when I became a parent, and became a parent to my son, who was 2 at the time. And as a parent, there was just an instinct within me that I knew that there was something missing from, the jigsaw, where you're always trying to find what is it that was missing. I knew that there were certain qualities that I had that were not probably the best to have, when bringing up younger children. And these are areas, things like patience and communication, actually understanding how my child was developing. And just like I'm on the radio here today, I actually used to listen to a local radio station every single week. And I think the radio station was quite new at the time, and it was a local community radio station. And on the radio station, there was a neuroscientist who actually used to talk about the concept of emotional intelligence and brain-based parenting and brain-based learning. And I just remember, my son being 2.5, and I had just the one child at the time. And I remember tuning in and hearing these buzzwords like emotional intelligence and motivation and confidence, and some, neuroscientific words I'd never heard of before, even being, the age of 30 odd, 31 at the time. Well, I think it was just under 13. However, I then started to tune in, and every week I would listen without fail. And I would listen, and then I would absorb. I'd make notes, and if I was in the journey, I'd have a pen and paper to hand, or if I was listening and I was a passenger, I'd have my phone to hand, and I'd just be typing notes away, looking for information that I can go and research myself. And it came to light here, and by pure coincidence, I feel this all came into place, was I was able to get in touch with the radio presenter who was a neuroscientist that qualified from California. And a whole year later of listening, we finally got to meet. And that meeting with with my mentor, Doctor, he was just a complete, well, he is a complete inspiration to my life, and it completely transformed me as a person, and really took me on a journey of finding my purpose in my life. And this is where I am today. I'm here as creative director of the Wonder of Learning. The concept of the Wonder of Learning came from, listening to this radio show and being exposed to the concept of emotional intelligence, and actually as living proof of going on a journey of such personal transformation, myself as a parent and as a person as well, in supporting younger people using emotional intelligence skills and using dual hemispheric learning techniques, which engages the brain in a completely different way when learning, and really using these tools to develop how younger people can really achieve their true potential. And it by no means is just for their academic success. Academic success is one part of their life, and I can really resonate with that, because academic success was not part of my success until 8 or 9 years into my work career. And by no way am I saying it shouldn't be priority. Absolutely, academic success and knowledge is a complete power that we all need to have. But for us to absorb it and retain it and encourage learning, we really have got to be in a really strong and positive emotional state within ourselves, and really be emotionally intelligent. So that is where I've come to up until now. And I think before we go to the next question, I'll go over to you, Marina.
Wow, I'm listening, and I'm so grateful you are here, because you see, it's many times people think very little of themselves,
Yeah.
and by missing the most, or the very fabric of who they are. And I think emotional intelligence is a way of life. And I experienced this myself. You're talking, I was recognizing myself in your story. I
Absolutely,
was
it
asleep
resonates
before.
at times. Yeah, and
I was asleep before, and then I wake up and I start to understand who I am, what I'm made of, and I start to feel confident and choosing what I think,
yeah,
and what words I use to create my thoughts, and how those words are making me feel, and those feelings help me act in a different way, and actually shaped all my interactions with myself, with others, but mainly with myself, and help me understand that I have the same divine essence like any other human being. But
yeah,
what makes me different is my ability to choose or ignore my um, my essence. So like yourself, you are so wonderful, and I could listen to you for hours. But I'm just thinking, if I could put your essence in a little bottle and send it to 4 billion people, their life will change. So
wow, thank you. But
so emotional intelligence defines the way you learn about yourself, and
absolutely,
allows you to set your priorities in a different way. It's almost like what was important before doesn't mean anything now. For example, before I was thinking of the past,
Yeah,
and now I know that the past is not my destiny.
absolutely not.
And
Yeah,
I was thinking about the future, and I know that unless I live the present, this gift of life, which is called the present for a reason, there
absolutely.
will be no future, and I can shape everything
That's,
within my own existence
yeah.
based on understanding and recognizing myself, accepting myself for who I am, because each one of us hold their own truth.
Yeah, and I think
Embracing the truth,
that
it's like you said, embracing that truth is the biggest challenge.
absolutely, and I think that really comes on to the point about the subject, because if you know, our subject is emotional intelligence, and if we actually understand this concept, and not just by understanding, okay, well, emotional intelligence is about, you know, self-awareness, it's about our self-regulation and how we are in control over our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. It's about how motivated we are, how empathetic we are in sharing and understanding other people's feelings, and how we communicate socially as well, because as humans we are these social animals, and our brain is designed to be a social brain, so we learn in those dynamics as well. But for me, it was actually going through that journey and really realizing, after going through that journey, becoming so much more aware of myself, finding out more about myself, observing myself, reflecting on myself, and then started to see, wow, there has been so many years that had gone by in my life, and I was nowhere near my purpose, because there is, you know, within us we have got a purpose, and it's only when you go through that journey that each and every one of us will discover that purpose. And I am in just 100% belief that my purpose is to help as many people as I can, and my focus has been younger people because of my own journey as a student. And as I went through this journey, and as I communicated with more parents, once we started delivering some of our programs, and just started delivering programs with the community, and very much, you know, with close members in the family and then students, and it went out and reached out further and further, I started to see the pains and the problems that parents were going through, that students were going through every single day in their life. And the solution wasn't just sending them for tuition or sending them for tutoring, or parents actually, you know, having a kind of external pressure placed on them without even realizing themselves what the pressures were causing the child emotionally or the student emotionally. And that's when I realized that I know that, you know, for the rest of my life, this is my passion, and I will give it my all, and I will make sure that no day, you know, is a failed day. Every day is an achieved day in some way or another. But I also know that how long it took me to get to this place, because it took, you know, I was on this journey of finding out and going through the process, and I was so lucky to be in the hands of such an excellent coach who taught me the system and the journey as well, where I was able to come out and see the outcome that was realizing my purpose, and how that outcome is, you know, is going to actually help so many more people ahead. And it's actually just realizing is that, how, you know, if we all went through this journey, then how many other people will be affected by it? And I think that's really, really important, and I think that's really what I wanted to reach out to people listening, you know, to Radio Works today, is that you've got to spend time and reflect, and you've got to spend time and get to know ourselves, because life is paced so fast, and there's so many things that are changing every second literally. And it's only when we get that time, and, you know, you said, Marina, as well, about living in the present, and that is an art in itself, to actually come back and just be in the moment and be in the now. And there are so many books, and there's so much that I've read myself about actually just learning mindfulness. But mindfulness is really learning that art of just staying within the now. And yes, you know, the past is gone. There's absolutely nothing we can do about changing the past, and there's nothing that we can actually predict the future, but we can plan, and we have to plan and stay within that moment, and that's an art within itself. And it's once we become a lot more, you know, sort of clued up, and we know ourselves, and we know how we're feeling and what we're saying to ourselves internally, and what those thoughts are, what are the words that we're using, and how all this affects our daily actions. It's just absolutely amazing. And I know, you know, my audience really, as the Wonder of Learning, they really are primarily parents, and now even students from the ages young as primary all the way to professionals who are doing their degrees, colleges, secondary education, undergraduates, even continuously professionally developing, because you are always learning. But specifically the last year, I have just wanted to focus on younger people up to the age of around 18, because the statistics recently have shown such a high increase in mental health issues in younger people, stress and anxiety levels, a lot of decline in the achievement of higher grades, and then lots of evidence showing that there are more people achieving higher grades, but then yet they're not the ideal candidate, and actually possessing the employability skills as well. So this is where I really do feel passionate about the Wonder of Learning and the solutions we have, because we spent a lot of time over the last number of years researching and putting together and actually delivering these interventions to students and parents as well, who are professionals and single parents and house people. So, but they are a parent and they have a very difficult job. In fact, a lot of I've actually read it time and time and time again, over again, that parenting is the most difficult job on earth, because there's no right way to do it. And it's really understanding that the solution of delivering our programs that fuse together, and our concept is unique, because we don't just teach emotional intelligence and teach them the skills of EQ, which is also abbreviated for emotional intelligence skills, but we get the skills of becoming aware, becoming motivated and self-regulated, and developing your social and communication skills by looking and reflecting on the language you use and the thoughts you have, and how this reflects in the way you communicate, both verbally and non-verbally. But we get all of these factors, and then we fuse it into the development of the dual hemispheric learning techniques, which is a lot about how to develop their memory, because as a student you need to be able to retain knowledge. They need to be taught how to absorb this knowledge. They need to be taught how emotions play a big part in retention of memory. We teach them excellent revision skills, where things don't become boring, because boredom is such a passive, it's a passive emotion that's felt if you are revising in a very passive way. And we fuse these a lot into lots of different learning techniques as well, and learning tools that start to engage the different parts of your brain, and those students become aware of it. And that's what is really, really, really important. And I'd actually, Marina, I'd probably ask for your opinion there, because it's really good to sometimes be in a place where I am now as an entrepreneur as well, and consistently developing these solutions, to actually have and listen to the opinions of the listeners, and get your feedback as well.
Wow, I was listening to you and thinking how much trauma could be dissolved before it happens, when children and young people own the ability to control their thoughts and choose their thoughts, and because nobody can change their circumstances, but humans got this amazing ability to use words, and words are very powerful. And coming back to this, this just came back into my mind, this quote by Theodore Roosevelt, said that coming back to your passion, and I'm so taken by your energy, and by your absolute commitment to your gift. And he said that actually no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's exactly what's happening to you. It's just a matter of time for people to understand that you are not about what you know, you are about what you care for, and what you care for, that's your passion. This is what wakes you up in the morning, is not what keeps you awake at night.
No,
and
absolutely.
perhaps you agree with me, or you could disagree, but we could agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I really believe that the secret of living your life with purpose is actually sharing the good news. You are the good news. You bring something at the table that it's so vital. It's almost like oxygen, and it's coming early into people's life. You know how many people already went through medical care, and through being hospitalized, and having these records about their mental health, and they can't even be an accountant. Or so
absolutely, because of the previous history. And you said, I mean, just stopping you there as well, sorry, but there is one thing that you just said that's so important, and it's what is there that gives these younger people the ability to learn how to control their thoughts and their feelings, and then be able to change them as a proactive solution. Because what happens, and I see this sort of quite a lot, and I've worked with so many students now up until today in the last 2 years. We've worked with this is myself and not with the other partners, around 8,000 students, from schools to people in the community, and students within the city here in Birmingham. But what I have realized is that everything seems to be reactive as a solution. So, a student will suffer from stress, or suffer from anxiety, or have behavior issues, or have health issues or mental issues, and then be referred to counseling, or then be referred to an intervention program, when sometimes it just feels like it's that little bit too late, because the habit has become stronger in the mind, and it's become stronger that, yes, the brain is so plastic now that it can be changed, but the effort and the time needed to change will be a lot larger. However, if, as parents, as students, as schools, as practitioners, as humans, if we were to teach this to our children, and teach them the ability of how to change your thoughts, and how to become aware of them, and actually, life is a roller coaster, and you will have positives and you will have negatives, and you will be motivated, and sometimes those fuels of motivation may run out, but you can lift those fuels back again by doing this. Then why are we not doing things as a proactive way, so that we're preparing them with the skills, so that they know what to use when they are in those circumstances? And that's like my case. You're hearing my case, because this is my passion. And I've seen, I mean, just in the last 2 weeks, here in Birmingham, there was the 11 plus exam, where a number of students go for quite a rigorous test to be tested on an entry place into grammar schools, where the places are very, very limited, but students prepare for nearly 2.5 years or more on consistent practice on English and maths and verbal reasoning or non-verbal reasoning. However, I saw the difference, and I had seen the difference, and actually saw the emotional well-being of the students that were coached with a support of actually deep brain relaxation before the exam, and actually seeing me and coming on to the program the day before the exam, and really understanding the learning environment they were learning in, the emotions that they were using when they were learning, how they were feeling in the exam, and where was their focus and observations whilst in the exam. And after even hearing feedback by, these are all sort of 11-year-olds taking the 11 plus, and after hearing their feedback, they had learnt the skill of living in the now, because none of them came out worried or anxious about how they did or what will their result be like, because they're in the moment, they're in the now. The exam is done, they've done their best, they've put all the effort in, they're prepared, and they were relaxed. And being in that state really does, entice memory, and it literally just visualize like you're opening a filing cabinet, and the filing cabinet will open smoothly if you've been oiled. And it's just the same with a younger person, even with us as adults, but so much more importantly a younger person, because they are developing, they are absorbing every second just like we are, but they are absorbing at such a faster rate as well. And this is why I really want to bring to you listeners, just the opportunity to engage with me and give me your feedback, share ideas, and just connect, because I really would love to learn more about what everybody else thinks, and really learn more about everybody else's journey as well. And I'd love to be here again.
You see, I feel your emotions when you speak about total strangers, but that includes yourself, because the more you connect with total strangers, the better chances for you as a creature of emotions, because we are not against what everybody might like to think. We are not creatures of logic, we are creatures of emotions. And you know how people say, oh, all you have to do is to align your values with your beliefs and your actions and everything will be fine. But guess what? We left out the most important dimension, emotions. Yeah. And unless you bring them together within your emotional experience, it's not going to happen. You are not going to leverage your self-esteem ever unless your emotional health is in a good state. So I was wondering, what is that you want to talk to our listener next time? Because surely have to be a next time. You have to come back. You are so more.
That'd be excellent. I'd love to.
Perhaps I'm not going to go to bed. I'm going to think about what you said now and write down certain things. So what would you like to talk to share with our listeners next time?
I think it'd be great for me to. I think next time maybe I'd like to talk about the art of being aware of ourself, and self-awareness, and believing in ourselves, and actually understanding, the concept of self-esteem from an emotional intelligence perspective. And that's what I would like to probably talk about, and my view and my take on it from everything that I've learnt, and share that with you as the listeners. And also, if listeners do want to connect, I think, Marina, am I okay to sort of just share the Facebook
of course, yes.
page? So if you just have a look on Facebook and search the wonder of learning, we've got a page on there that just shows you a lot about what we do. And my own Facebook profile is Ambreen Khan. So it's AMBREEN for November. And then it's Khan, KHAN. And if anybody wants any more information, I'm happy to have like a Skype call to share any information or be of any support as and when I can. That would be brilliant.
Wow. So for our listeners, wherever you are in the world, we all have the same divine essence, and it's just the difference is made by your choice of using or not using what you have already. So if you are in two minds about who you want to be next and where you want to go next, connect with Ambreen, and she's speaking from the heart, and she's such a great, incredible team player, and you, Ambreen, put all your passion and you go all in, and I don't think it's any stopping now. You just have
Thank
enough
you.
time
I
to
don't think so either. I don't think there is any
the
stopping
message
at all.
across. Yeah. So before you go, what is the key message for your show tonight?
I think the key message for the show tonight is, some of you as listeners will be parents, maybe students. You will have interaction with younger people, whether they're nieces, nephews, or anywhere, and even as yourself. But my key message would be to actually understand that as your situation at the moment, wherever it is, or whatever stage of life that you're in, just make sure you understand what your passion is, and not just understand it, but be aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, start to search for it, because your life is, I mean, there's a saying as well that, do we live to work or do we work to live? And, many of us are entrepreneurs, or many of us are students or parents or professionals or whatnot. But what is got to get us through every single day is motivation, is confidence, is willpower, is self-discipline. But all of that, I really feel this, all of that it comes from one word, to put it quite simply, and that is passion. And by sharing my story today, I've just shared with you, the listeners, what I am passionate about, and how being passionate by developing younger people, which is what I'm passionate about, how will that add value to so many other people, to me, and actually really give me that satisfaction every single day, how my passion has, changed somebody's life, or something, or someone somewhere down the line, whether it was now, it may resonate with them 10 years later, 5 years later, and it may have a knock-on effect on, their children, etc. So definitely, please just, and it'd be really good if anybody could sort of share this with us by the next show, or I even listen to another show. But let's start to go back and reflect what our passion is. And if you do have a passion, and your passion even now, then just make sure you remind yourself of it several times in the day as well, because that is just so crucial. And I think that's it from me.
Wow, I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited about what's happening next. Even I don't know, but I'm just very passionate about your passion. So
Thank you.
from both of us, don't be in two minds about who you are, about your passion. Connect with us,
Yeah.
and we are delighted to share your story. We are delighted to interview you. We are very grateful when you connect with us, and we might not hold any of the answers you need, but at least we'll be able to ask each other the right question, great questions. What's next? What is that makes you tick and click? From both of us, until next time, is goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.